Sukkot. It was also 7 days long, just like Sukkot was 7 days long. Is there a hand? What? October? No, not October. It ends the same way though. Pesach or Passover, that's right. So now you have Sukkot in the fall, you have Pesach in the spring. It's a little more interesting of a calendar, but you're still missing another season that's important. Important for growing. You have Pesach in the spring, Sukkot in the fall, but there's a summer holiday too. And it's a holiday based on the number 7, just like Passover is 7 days and Sukkot is 7 days. It's a holiday called Shavuot, or Shavuos, which is 7 weeks. 7 times 7, 49, and the 50th day is Shavuot. So now we have a much more interesting calendar. We have spring, we have summer, and we have fall. And together they work to make the Jewish calendar we know. Now, as we understand, sometimes the calendar changes. We know that this season is a lot earlier than last year, which is nice because the sun is out and it's warmer, it's not as cold and rainy. Other years, the calendar jumps later, it's a leap year, so it seems to change and go farther and farther and farther. It's not so easy to talk and juggle at the same time. Okay, so you understand a little bit about the Jewish calendar, how these holidays fit together. I didn't mention the high holidays. I didn't mention Purim. I didn't even mention Hanukkah, because those were added later. These are the earliest holidays in the Jewish calendar. Let's see if you can remember the 3 of them and add them in. So we had Sukkot. What was the next one after Sukkot in the spring? Pesach. So now we have Pesach and Sukkot. And what was the third one? Pesach, Sukkot, and Shavuot. All working together. Okay. Very good for the holidays of the Jewish year. And one of the things we celebrate with Sukkot is the turning of the colors, the turning of the seasons. And we have a song that celebrates the changing of time, but what stays the same. It's called Hayamim Cholfim. It's on your song sheets. Let's sing that one together too.
Hayamim Cholfim Shana Overet. Hayamim Cholfim Shana Overet. Aval Hamagila, Aval Hamagila, Aval Gerayat HaMishes. Days pass and years go by, ever and ever. Days pass and years go by, ever and ever. And as our voices ring out with songs we sing, life is a joyous thing, ever and ever.
Now in the fall, we celebrate the harvest, the fruits that become ripe, and the produce that comes to enrich our lives. We have 2 symbols of this that's part of the Sukkot celebration. It's called the 4 species. There are 3 kinds of branches and 1 kind of fruit. It's not the kind of fruit you eat though, it's the kind that you smell and you can sort of scratch it with your nail and it smells like perfume in a fruit. No, you don't need perfume, right? So you don't eat a fruit that smells like perfume either. This fruit is called the etrog. I had a quiz last year, I don't know if anyone remembers, that there is actually a food that many people eat today. It's a drink that has a little bit of etrog in it. It's a kind of a hot drink. It's flavored with etrog. It's a kind of tea that's flavored with etrog, yes.
Earl Grey.
Earl Grey tea has a little bit of etrog, although I forget the name of what they call it.
Bergamot.
Bergamot, that's right. Bergamot, if you see that ingredient, is actually the etrog, the citron fruit. So you can smell the etrog, and you smell the fruits that are harvested, and this is symbolic of the grain that's harvested in the fall as well. You have the olive, the myrtle, and the palm tree, all of which produce fruit or oil in the land of Israel, but it also, you can hear it, shaking. It's a little bit like the sound of rain coming down, and we'll talk a little bit more about rain and water as a symbol of Sukkot in a minute. So the lulav and the etrog are something to pass around. You'll each get a chance to smell the etrog and shake the lulav. Again, the privileged people are the box seats in the sukkah. And then we'll have a chance for everyone to pass it around. In the meantime, we can sing a song about harvest called Zoom Gali Gali.
We'll do this once together and then we'll do it in a round. Zoom Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali. Hekalut lemon avodah, avodah lemon hekalut, hekalut lemon avodah, avodah lemon hekalut. Zoom Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali. You want to turn it around?
All right, so now we'll try it around. We'll divide it loosely here. We're not going to tell you how you identify to the left or to the right. You decide that for yourself. So we'll simply split it more or less around here. I'll stay on this side. And should we start first and you'll come in, or do you want to start first and we'll jump in?
I'll start first, then you jump in.
All right, so we'll wait for my signal to get started.
Zoom Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali. Hekalut Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali. Hekalut Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Avodah Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Hekalut Gali Gali, Avodah Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom
Zoom! Zoom! And now we'll pass the lulav and the etrog on to the next stop.
Okay.
The third symbol of Sukkot is not one that we can really pass around. It's actually a symbol called water. Now, why would water be important to a harvest season? Can anyone guess why water is important to harvesting? What do you think? Well, the water helps to make things grow. That's right. You need the rain at the right time. Not too much rain, not too little rain, and rain at the right time. So we used to think that we could control when it would rain. Our experience at Kol Hadash on Sukkot is that you cannot control when it's going to rain. But the nice part is that there was this ritual that celebrated the importance of water and the importance of rain. When there was a temple in Jerusalem, there was only one temple. It was a huge temple. You can still see one wall of that temple and a little bit of another wall. If you go to Jerusalem, it's called the Western Wall. You can look at it from a distance or try to get up front. But what's exciting about that wall is it's a symbol of that temple that used to be there. You can imagine the rest of it. Imagine this huge building in the center of Jerusalem, and people would come from all over the countryside on a pilgrimage, on a special trip, to go to Jerusalem for Sukkot. They would bring their lulav, they would bring their etrog, and they would come to the temple to watch a special ritual. It was this pouring of water. There would be two beautiful silver bowls. In this case, they're stainless steel. But originally, they were silver bowls. They would be filled with water on one side. And then what the priest, the leader of the service, would do is he would pour the water from one bowl into the other, in some ways to try and teach the sky how to rain, to show what we want to happen. It's expressing what we hope will happen, that the rain will come. Now, today we don't do a lot of water sharing as part of Sukkot, but it might be something to think about, how important clean water and water in the right season are to celebrating the holiday and to having a good harvest. And so I'm going to pour some water here, but I'm also going to show you what happened when somebody messed up. Pour it here. Oh, some of it spilled.
Hungry.
Some of the water spilled out. There was a case about 2,100 years ago where a priest was doing this ritual, pouring out the water, and he spilled it all over his feet instead of into the bowl. Well, what happened was he showed that he didn't really care very much about the ritual. He didn't really care very much about the people who needed that water to come at the right time. And so what did they do? How did they show that they were not happy? They took their etrog and they threw it at him. So the etrog is not only a symbol of harvest, but also a symbol of the power of people to object when the people in charge are not listening. Now, we have a song that we'll sing in future holidays called Ushavtem Mayim. You can see it on your song sheet on the right side. If I looked for water, I would find water from the fountains of deliverance. It's a line from the book of Isaiah. And also, the next time we do it, maybe we'll learn a dance that goes with this. I'll just sing the song for you briefly so you can hear the melody and have it begin to percolate. Ushavtem mayim b'sason mimanei ha-Yeshua. Ushavtem mayim b'sason mimanei ha-Yeshua. Mayim, 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 mayim. Hey mayim b'sason. Mayim, 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 mayim. Hey mayim b'sason. Hey, 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 hey. Mayim, 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 mayim b'sason. Mayim, 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 mayim b'sason. There's an Israeli folk dance that goes with that song as well, and we'll work on developing that for our next service. Now, the most important symbol of Sukkot is what our children are sitting under. It's called a sukkah. Single is sukkah, plural is Sukkot. It's actually the holiday of booths, plural. Now, the sukkah itself is a very interesting building because there's no one way to make a sukkah. For those parents who want to go on the internet later to find out more about Sukkot, there's a wonderful website called Sukkah City. I don't know, how many of you have heard of Sukkah City? One or two? Sukkah City was a wonderful competition they held in New York City, in Union Square, which is a big park, where they gave the basic rules for making a sukkah to artists and architects, and they developed beautiful alternative versions of the sukkah. If you go to sukkahcity.com, you can see a video of a lot of the different designs. They're very, very creative. But I thought what we'd do is start to learn a little bit about what could count to build a sukkah. So you have your song sheets in front of you. There are some green and some red and some yellow. So first, let's pull up the green sheets. What's on the back of the green sheets? What does it look like to you? On the green sheets? It's like sort of like a C with a dot in it. That's the K sound of Sukkot. Now if you take the red sheets, what's on the back of the red sheets? Can you hold up the red sheets so people who don't have a red sheet can see it? All right. On the red sheets, you have a letter. In Hebrew, it's called Samech. It's the S for Sukkot. So you have the red is the S, the green is the K, and the yellow is the T. So I'm going to sound out the word slowly. I want you to hold up your sheet when I get to your sound. So the first sound is S. Try a little faster. Now I'll add some vowel sounds. So we have su, k, o, t, su, k, o, t, su, kot. Now the last thing I want to point out, and this is the most interesting part of Sukkot, is that the shape of those letters help us know the shape you can build the sukkah. Because your sukkah can have 4 walls, like the S. It can have 3 walls, like the K. Or it can have 2 walls and sort of a partial wall, like the T, or if it's sukkah, it'd be an H. You can have 2.5 walls. That can be your sukkah too. Now I have some other rules for the sukkah. I'm going to ask you if you think they are true or false. If you think they're true, you can raise your sheet in the air. If you think they're false, you'll keep your sheet down. So the first rule is, can you use the body of a whale as part of your sukkah?
It's gotta be true, because it's so ridiculous.
That's true. You can use part of the body of a whale that's beached on the sea as a sukkah. The same thing is true for an elephant. You can use part of an elephant as one of the walls of your sukkah. Can you make the roof of the sukkah out of some kind of food? An edible house?
Oh yeah.
Actually, no, the roof of the sukkah cannot be made out of food. The roof has to come from something that was alive, but isn't alive anymore. A tree or a plant. So it had to grow before And so like the bamboo on this, it is no longer alive. Now, can you build a sukkah on something that moves, like a boat or a camel or a wagon? Actually, you can. If you were on a boat during Sukkot, and boats back then took a long time to get somewhere, what were you going to do? You had to build a sukkah even on the boat. You could build a Sukkot. You could even build it in a tree, but you can't build it under a tree. Because the roof, remember, has to be something that's not alive. So the tree can't be the roof on your sukkah if it's alive. You'd have to cut it off. Can you have a roof that doesn't let in any light?
No.
No, that's false. That's right. What do you have to be able to see through the roof of the sukkah? Does anyone remember? The stars. That's right. You have to be able to, if you're spending the night in the sukkah or you're out there in the evening, you have to be able to see the stars through the roof. So the last question is, what's the minimum size for a sukkah? How small can you get it? They actually would measure, they didn't have feet and inches or even meters. They used what they called hand breadths, which is how far your hand stretches, about 5 or 6 inches depending on your hands. And they said it could be 7 by 7. Can you measure on the ground or next to you what 7 hand breadths would be? It's not very big. It really is not that big to fit a person in for Sukkot. Now the other interesting thing is there is no maximum area for a sukkah.
Oh my goodness.
So it could be very, very big, although the city building department might have an opinion on how big you can make your sukkah. Well, the most important part about the sukkah itself is to build it, and to build it often with people to help you do your sukkah raising at your home or with a congregation. One of our songs that celebrates the power of people to build things, to change things, to use tools to make things is If I Had a Hammer. So we could rework the words if we wanted to. If I had a hammer, I'd build my sukkah in the morning, I'd build my sukkah in the evening. In this case, we'll just sing the original words, If I Had a Hammer.
I had a hammer in the morning, a hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out warning, I'd hammer out love between the brothers and the sisters all over this land. I had a bell, I ring it in the morning, I ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring it out danger, I'd ring it out warning, I'd ring out love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out danger, I'd sing out warning, I'd sing out love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. I've got a hammer, I've got a bell, I've got a song to sing all over this land. It's the bell of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. All over this land.
Now, one of the exciting traditions of Sukkot is not just to have a sukkah by yourself. That would be very lonely. You do it with family, and you also do it with friends and guests. There's a tradition of inviting people called ushpizin, guests, to your sukkah. Some of you may have seen an Israeli movie within the last couple of years about some uninvited ushpizin, some guests who show up in the sukkah. But in this case, we like to invite guests to the sukkah. Traditionally, you would invite famous people from Jewish literature. They invited Abraham and David and Isaac and Jacob and Moses and Aaron. But we can expand our guest list a bit. We have some room in our sukkah. And I'm curious who you would like to invite to come into your sukkah. It can be living or dead. It could be fictional or real. Who would be the character, the person, the guest, the ushpiz, that you would like to invite into your sukkah? So let me start asking in the sukkah itself. So who would you like to invite to the sukkah? Is there anyone? Nobody? Okay, cool. Her friend Nina, that'd be a great person to invite. Who else could you invite? Oh, your younger siblings? Very nice to invite younger siblings into the sukkah. Oh, yes, who would you invite? Your sister, who's already there. Excellent. Reciprocal invitation is part of a good, well-functioning society. Oh, I'm so much for that. Who else might you invite out here? People you'd like to see, yeah. One Direction is nominated, at least for that. Any other guests you'd like to invite? Nobody?
In the back.
What? I might invite.
Yeah,
oh, is there a hand in the back? I can't hear you. Your grandpa? That would be nice. That would be nice to bring back people that you miss, or people that you haven't seen in a while. It's always nice to invite. Yeah, go ahead, Gabrielle. Okay. Any other ushpizin? Any other guests you'd like to invite? Oh, yes. Dumbo the flying elephant. That would be amusing too. Yes. Your dog, sure. Dogs can be guests in the sukkah too. There's no restrictions on dogs in sukkah. Oh, yes. Henry Ford, who built the. He might have never ever been in a sukkah in his life. Yes.
A famous horse.
A famous horse. Excellent, excellent. So you have lots of options for who you could bring into the sukkah. Oh, what? Wait, is there a hand? See, I should limit comments to the first 3 rows, and then yes, go ahead. Well, all right. So what we're going to do now is I have a short story about Sukkot. You may have seen this one before. It's adapted for Sukkot this time. For the kids who want to have a chance to see the pictures, I invite you to come up to the sukkah for the storytelling, and then we're going to be wrapping up the service and going in for some snacks and crafts as well. So for those who want to come in and hear the story, please squeeze into the sukkah. There's always room for one more person in the sukkah. Okay? Anyone else want to see pictures? Otherwise, you'll just have to hear it from me. Okay. This is a story called Something from Nothing. In Yiddish, you'd say Epos von Gornish. Something from Nothing. When Joseph was a baby, his grandfather, made him a wonderful blanket to keep him warm and cozy and chase away bad dreams. And he gave him the blanket for his first Sukkot, for his first sukkah night that he spent in the sukkah. That was the blanket, the first year. But as Joseph grew older, the wonderful blanket grew older too. One day, just before Sukkot, his mother said to him, "Joseph, look at your blanket. It's frazzled, it's worn, it's unsightly, it's torn. It's time to throw it out." "Grandpa can fix it for Sukkot," Joseph said. Joseph's grandfather took the blanket and turned it round and around. He said as his scissors went snip, 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 and his needle flew in and out and in and out. "There's just enough material here for Sukkot to make a wonderful jacket." So Joseph put on the wonderful jacket for Sukkot and went outside to play. But as Joseph grew older, his wonderful jacket grew older too. One day, just before Sukkot, his mother said to him, "Joseph, look at your jacket. It's shrunken and small, doesn't fit you at all. It's time to throw it out." "Grandpa can fix it for Sukkot," Joseph said. Joseph's grandfather took the jacket and turned it round and round. He said, as his scissors went snip, 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 and his needle flew in and out and in and out. There's just enough material here to make a wonderful vest for Sukkot. Joseph wore the wonderful vest for Sukkot and to school the very next day. But as Joseph grew older, the wonderful vest grew older too. One day, his mother said to him, "Joseph, look at your vest. It's spotted with glue and there's paint on it too. Before Sukkot, it's time to throw it out." "Grandpa can fix it," Joseph said. Joseph's grandfather took the vest and turned it round and round. He said, as his scissors went snip, 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 and his needle flew in and out and in and out. There's just enough material here to make a wonderful tie for a Sukkot dinner. Joseph wore the wonderful tie to his grandparents' house on Sukkot and every Friday. But as Joseph grew older, his wonderful tie grew older too. One day his mother said to him, "Joseph, look at your tie. This big stain of soup makes the end of it droop. It's time to throw it out." Before Sukkot, whoop, missed the grandfather here. "Grandfather can fix it," Joseph said. Joseph's grandfather took the tie and turned it round and round. He said, as his scissors went snip, 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 and his needle flashed in and out and in and out. There's just enough material here to make, before Sukkot, a wonderful handkerchief. Joseph used the wonderful handkerchief to decorate his sukkah and to keep his pebble collection safe. But as Joseph grew older, his handkerchief grew older too. One day his mother said to him, "Joseph, look at your handkerchief. It's been used till it's tattered, it's splotched, and it's splattered. It's time to throw it out before Sukkot." "Grandpa can fix it," Joseph said. Joseph's grandfather took the handkerchief and turned it round and round. He said, as his scissors went snip, 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 and his needle flew in and out and in and out. There's just enough material here to make a wonderful button. Joseph wore the wonderful button on his suspenders to hold up his special Sukkot pants. One day, his mother said to him, "Joseph, where is your button?" Joseph looked. It was gone. He searched everywhere, but he could not find it. Joseph ran down to his grandfather's house. "My button, my wonderful button is gone. How will I celebrate Sukkot?" His mother ran after him. "Joseph, listen to me. The button is gone, finished, kaput. Even your grandfather can't make something for nothing." Joseph's grandfather shook his head sadly. "I'm afraid your mother is right," he said. The next day Joseph went to school. He said as his pen went scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch. There's just enough material here to make a wonderful story. And that is the story of making something from nothing on Sukkot or any time of the year. Now inside we have a wonderful craft opportunity for our kids to decorate pumpkins. We have food and refreshments and seasonal and also timeless like bagels. There's no season when bagels are out of season. Our education director Dawn Friedman has a couple of announcements. And after the service, our kindergarten and first grade class will stay in the sukkah for just a moment. So Dawn, please.
Welcome to all of you today. Isn't it such a beautiful day? I encourage you after the party to feel free to stick around and wander the trails and explore the beautiful nature that is the Heller Nature Center and stay as long as you like. Right after the service, we have our party inside. I'm echoing. Can you all hear me? Okay, not too loud. We have a party inside with food and all kinds of yummy things. Our youth group is running the craft activity table, decorating mini pumpkins. They appreciate your donations to help support their program, so feel free to leave a nice little donation for them in their cash box if you decorate a mini pumpkin. And also I wanted to remind everyone that if you can stay, anyone who can stay to help take down the sukkah after our party today, I'm sure that our sukkah coordinator Jeremy Gibson would be very grateful. The next thing is we do have Sunday school next week at Deerfield High School, and we will be celebrating yet another Jewish holiday next Sunday, which is Simchat Torah. So we'll have our Torah at Sunday school, and we'll have an all-school service with the rabbi during our music time. So I encourage parents and grandparents and friends and family to come back to Deerfield High School next Sunday to celebrate the next Jewish holiday with us. And after that, we'll have a little break. I also would like to thank our musician and our music leader at Sunday school, Laura Burke, for leading our songs in the service today. And of course, our wonderful rabbi, Adam Shalom. And I'd also like to thank the member of the Youth Education Committee who's coordinating our party today, Jackie Hames, who's probably inside getting ready, and all of you who brought food and helped put set up or helped put up and take down the sukkah this year, because we couldn't do it without all of you. So thank you very much, and then I'll turn it back over to the rabbi.
All right. So, let's just talk here. Our last song is a song that celebrates celebrating. It's called Hava Nagila. As I often say, the joy of being Jewish is you get to know more words than just Hava Nagila, blah, 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 blah. You actually have the words on the song so you can sing them all together. And let's join in and clap. 2 minutes.
Hava Nagila, Hava Nagila, Hava Nagila le'nismecha. Hava Nagila, Hava Nagila, Hava Nagila le'nismecha. Hava na na na, Hava na na na, Hava na 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 le'nismecha. Hava na na na, Hava na na na, Hava na na le'nismecha.
Time, Chag Sameach. Please wish Chag Sameach to the people near you.
Chag Sameach.
I call bagel. Ella and Zach, come on, let's take our picture in the sukkah, like we do every year. What do you think? Can you go with Ella? Zach? Can we go inside?
Yeah, wait, hang on. I don't know how to make this stop. Where's Mommy? How do I make it stop once it's going?
Press it again. Ella, you too.
Press play again?
Yeah. Can you get Zach in?
Let's stop.
I'm going.